yours, I'm a fool for your love.
Alright, so starting off, I am going to be combing through her brows with some Got To Be Glued styling gel. That is my new hack. Instead of using brow gel, I really like using that stuff because it really holds the brow hairs in place, and Kathy has amazing eyebrows naturally, so I felt like all I needed to do was just comb them in place, comb the hairs in place, and then underline it with concealer, and that was honestly all I really needed to do with her brows because they're so great on their own. Now I'm just blending out the concealer just so there's not a harsh line, and then I'm going to prime the lid with the same concealer. I believed I was just using Tarte Shape Tape. I use that a lot as eyeshadow base. It works well, and there's nothing wrong with using your products for multiple purposes. So yeah, I'm just blending that out with that little dome brush, and then we're going to highlight the brow bone. I use MAC Nylon, and then we're going to jump into shadows. So for the shadows, I use mostly Cosette Beauty single eyeshadows. They are a staple in my kits. I have a palette filled with a bunch of different ones. These are just 2 examples, and yeah, I'm just basically using them. They're great quality. Just if you're a makeup artist, I recommend picking up a bunch of them and just throwing them in a palette. I promise you won't be disappointed, and the price point is really good as well. So I'm just putting in a light brown throughout the crease, and then I'm going to very, very lightly deepen it up with a slightly deeper brown. I'm really not doing anything too deep in the crease. I wanted to keep it really light and fresh, and I wanted the focus to be on the liner and the shimmer on the lid. And I also wanted to put a lot of emphasis on the skin, so I didn't want the eyes to really compete with that. So I just kept the eyes like very light and not too dramatic. So now I'm going in with my NYX Pigment Primer. I use this all the time. I've mentioned it so many times. I'm applying that all over the lid, and then we're going to go in with a shadow on top, again by Cosette Beauty. It's one of their really shimmery eyeshadows. And this was a game changer for me. I used a fluffy little blending brush instead of a flat, like, traditional eyeshadow brush. Typically, that's what I would go in with to apply shadows, but today I used a little blending brush, and it applied it so much better. I don't know what it is, but it really just applied it so much prettier. It was just a much softer application, and it overall went on a lot more evenly than if I were to use a flat, dense brush. I don't know if it was just this specific eyeshadow formula where it worked better this way, but I really liked the way it applied with that little brush. I just wanted to give you guys a close-up of this shadow because I feel like you couldn't really see the detail of it too well before, so I just wanted to show you close up how pretty and sparkly it is. I love it. It's so pretty. So anyways, moving on to lashes. I actually used half lashes. I actually used the lashes that you see on the screen, but I cut them in half. I really wanted to play on Kathy's eye shape because she has a beautiful eye shape, she has big eyes, and I wanted to keep the drama on the outside of the eye with the winged liner and the lashes. This is my new go-to, half lashes. I feel like it is like my new compromise. If a client doesn't want lashes or isn't comfortable with lashes, thinks that they're going to be uncomfortable, I go in with half lashes. It's my way to compromise. I can't not put lashes on a client unless they have lash extensions. I just feel like it doesn't do my work any justice when it's just mascara. I feel like lashes just really bump it up to the next level. So half lashes have become a new favorite of mine because they're really comfortable on the client. I've never had anyone complain about half lashes like being uncomfortable, and they just add that little extra drama that mascara doesn't, if that makes sense. All right, so moving on to skin. I'm really taking the time to prep Kathy's skin because we are going to be doing more of an in-depth highlight contour routine, which I'm going to be showing you, obviously. And whenever I do highlight and contour, especially with creams, I want to make sure the skin is super prepped and hydrated just because you are going to be adding a lot of layers onto the skin. You don't want it to look cakey. If you ever feel like your products are looking cakey, either one, you're not prepping the skin good enough, two, you're using too thick of layers in each step. The key is to use very thin layers, thin foundation, thin contour. You don't want to overdo it because that's when things look cakey. So moving on to foundation, I'm using the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Stick Foundation. However, I wanted it to have a little bit more slip and luminosity because I knew I was going to be blending other products on top of it. So I added 2 drops of the Nyx Primer Oil. Smashbox also has a primer oil, and this is just going to make it a lot more luminous and easy to blend onto the skin. Kathy has normal to dry skin, so she could handle the little extra oil in the foundation, but if your client has oily skin, skip the oil. But I wanted a more of a luminous finish as her base foundation. So I applied it with that brush first, but now I'm going in with this amazing sponge by Stansout Beauty. I've been wanting to try this sponge forever. No, this video is not sponsored, but they were kind enough to send me this sponge, and I wanted to try it out on camera. So this is literally my first time using it. It's a really unique texture. It almost feels like a Tempur-Pedic mattress. It's very, very different from anything I've ever used. I usually use the e.l.f. Beauty sponge. I really, really like this, and I've used it a couple times since then, and I'm in love. It's really good. It just makes the skin look super flawless, and what I really like about it is the fact that it doesn't absorb product. So many sponges absorb way too much product, and half of it ends up on the sponge and not your face, where I feel like with this sponge, it absorbed just the right amount of product and just kept most of the product on the face, so you're getting your money's worth, you're not wasting product, and it just left overall a really flawless finish on the skin. So I really, really like it, and I'm definitely going to continue to use it. So moving on to contour, I'm using the Ultra HD Stick Foundation again, but in a darker shade. So when I contour, I typically like to use, I don't always do this, but I do a lot of the times like to use just a darker version of whatever foundation I was using. I feel like this really helps with the blending process. It just overall blends a lot easier if you're using the same formula on top of each other. Since I use the Ultra HD foundation all over her face, the contour just blended out so easy because like I said, it's the same formula. So I'm just using that. I'm not sure what shade it was. I think I mixed 2 shades together, but this is a great product to contour and highlight with. If you've never tried it, check it out. They actually have a palette that you can buy now that has a bunch of shades already in it. I promise you will not be disappointed. It's great for all over foundation. It's great for highlight and contour. It's just great overall. So I just contoured her forehead, the temples, the cheeks. As you can see, I kept the contour pretty high because once you blend out the contour, it gets a lot lower, and sometimes it just gets too low. So I like to keep it a little bit higher to really lift the cheekbones. I also contoured the chin, the nose, from the very top of the brows down to the tip and underneath the lip to create that shadow. Now I'm going in with concealer. I believe I used the MAC Studio Fix Concealer. And I'm just highlighting underneath her eyes in the inner corner towards the tear ducts and also out by the wings. That just creates more of a lifted effect when you highlight like that. The forehead I also highlighted and down the center of her nose as well, and obviously on the chin. Actually, funny story. So I've known Kathy since middle school, so a very, very long time. I graduated in 2012 from high school, so known her for years and years and years. And I used to do her makeup all the time when we were younger, and I actually just found this photo. I'm going to insert it in the video of me doing her makeup. We must have been like freshmen in high school, I think. And I don't even know what I was doing her makeup for. It might have been like Halloween or something. But it's just funny that I was doing her makeup. I found this picture of me doing her makeup so long ago. And here I am doing her makeup on my YouTube channel again. And I think she's been on my channel before, but I just thought that was funny. Once I blended everything out, I'm going to take my setting powder in shade medium. It's the Face Atelier setting powder, and I'm using this shade to set the contoured areas. So lately, I really like using a darker powder to set my contoured areas and then a lighter powder to set the highlighted areas. I feel like it just really locks everything in place and it just makes the skin look even more flawless. So that's a little tip. Definitely try using a darker powder for the contoured areas and then a lighter powder for the light areas, and rather than just using an all over powder for all over the face. I feel like it just helps reinforce the definition that we just worked so hard on with the contouring. Sometimes when you go in with an all over powder all over the face, it just kind of takes away some of the definition that we worked so hard to get. So yeah, and I use the Stansout Beauty Sponge to apply my baking powder with the flat edges on that sponge. It makes it really easy to be super precise, especially underneath the cheek area, like cleaning up that contour. It's just really easy to apply the powder with it. And now I'm just going in with a little bit of cream blush. So I know it's kind of a no-no to go in with creams after powders, but I really wanted to use cream blush and I just took the risk and it still looked totally fine. It didn't affect anything. And then I'm setting that with a powder blush on top to really make the cheeks pop. I just used like a light pink shade, nothing crazy. And then I also went in with bronzer. I was just using, I think, the Tarte Park Ave Princess. I don't know, it's the Highlight and Contour palette by Tarte. I'm just going in and contouring the nose with a knockoff of the NARS Ita brush. I actually got this on AliExpress and it literally is like the same brush as the NARS Ita brush, and it was only like $5, so check it out. Again, I got it on AliExpress, but I'm just bringing that contour up into her brows, just to basically blend like the front of the brow out, but also intensify the nose contour. I'm just going in with a cream highlight, which was Benefit's High Beam. Honestly, this step isn't really necessary. I just wanted the powder highlight to really pop, and so I wanted to apply a cream base. And then I went in with this highlighting palette by BH Cosmetics, and I just mixed a few of the lighter shades together to get a really pop-in highlight. For the lower lash line, all I did was apply a little bit of brown and highlighted the inner corner, and then of course applied mascara. So nothing special. But moving on to lips, I'm actually using Kathy's personal favorite, which is also a favorite of mine. It is the Milani lip liner in All Natural. It's just a really great shade. It's kind of like a Your Lips But Better shade. It's also a really great shade for overlining because it's not too dark, so it doesn't look obvious if you overline with it. It's just a really great shade. I definitely recommend having it in your kit if you don't already, because I feel like it goes on a lot of different skin tones. So that pretty much concludes today's look, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button if you haven't already, and please, please, please hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed. I would really appreciate it. Don't worry, I'm going to keep these client tutorials coming because I know you guys like them. But anyways, thanks for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.